I'd like to call the May 26, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting to order. I'd like to start with a silent meditation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank everybody for coming out tonight. Prior to tonight's meeting, the board did hold an executive session to discuss personnel issues. Is that fair? Okay. All right, let's start with item 2, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve the April 28th, 2026 Board of Supervisors meeting minutes as presented. Second.
Motion with a proper second. Any comments or questions? Comments from the board or comments from the public? No.
No microphones?
You have a question about what's currently being discussed?
No, whatever.
It's easier to
Do we
hear
have a
the minute.
microphone on the, is it working?
I'm just saying, people with worse hearing problems than.
All right, we will attempt to articulate that.
Yes, right.
Okay,
That's all.
call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Item 3, review and presentation of the 2025 audit by Carl Hogan. Here he is.
Oh, give me a second here. I'm gonna put this up on the
Okay.
screen.
This is the audit report, December 31st, 2025.
Carl, can you talk a little louder?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Similar format as into originally. Similar format to last year. We're gonna go over what type of audit report the township received, what the financial results were, and then talk about any other type of other matters, what kind of filing requirements the township has. If there were any kind of internal control deficiencies noted during our audit or any other kind of compliance issues noted during the audit. We're gonna go over the results in some short slides, which is a condensed version of the audit packet that everybody received in their board packet for tonight. So first and foremost, independent auditors report, the township received a clean, unmodified audit opinion for the year ended December 31st, 2025. The audit report is outlined into different sections, outlining what our responsibilities are, what management's responsibilities are. But the thing we want to be key on is that the DCED that is being presented on the cash basis of accounting, which is the regulatory basis of accounting, and the only requirement that the township has to report to the state of Pennsylvania is fairly presented and submitted to the Department of Community and Economic Development. On the next slide. We're gonna start going over the results of the audit. For the general fund, it's just high level. Within your audit packet, each one of the revenues and each one of the expenditures is disaggregated into all of the major categories. But for this level of reporting, I'm just putting it at the aggregate level in terms of total revenues over expenditures. So the first one is the general fund. The general fund is made up of the general fund, which is the main operating account of the township. And then also within the general fund, there's a segregated portion that is restricted for by the township for parks and recreation, but relative to those restricted revenues that are received by the township. General fund, revenues, $3.8 million, expenditures, $3.2 million for positive results of operation of $634,000. The township made a budgeted appropriated transfer out to the capital projects fund to for planned capital improvements. So the total change in the general fund balance, with a decrease, a planned decrease of $365,000 once we take into account, that $1 million that was moved over to the capital projects fund. So at the beginning of the year, the general fund had a $3.5 million, fund balance, decreased by $365,000, still have $3.1 million, within the general fund. And then also within the general fund reported in the DCED is $235,000 or $235,000 restricted for parks and recreation. When you look at the actual results, the positive results were primarily due to a one-time building permit related to the Doe Run Elementary, which was about $300,000. And I think I've pointed this out in the previous years. There was a period of time where the revenues were outpacing the expenditures by extreme amounts due to transfer taxes, investment earnings, earned income taxes. Even though we're still seeing some of that, it's slowing down, slowing down. We're not seeing the big gap that we were seeing in previous years where the transfer taxes, investment earnings, and earned income taxes were increasing at such a pace that they were well above the expenditure. So the township being conservative in their budgeting without, building those one-time revenues in and putting over to the capital projects fund, you've been able to use those monies for one-time expenditures by putting those transfers over the capital project fund. So remaining conservative in those revenue line items has done the township well. And then also down below expenditures, when we look at it, they're consistent with what was budgeted at the beginning of the year. Next slide. So also within the DCED, there's the special revenue fund, which is made up of two different pieces, which is number one, your liquid fuels fund, which is monies that we receive from PennDOT, which the township uses to fund our annual road program. Also, within the special revenue fund, the township levies a specific fire EMS tax on an annual basis in which they meet the requirements to meet the funding requirements of the local fire and EMS programs. And during the current year, the revenues were more than the expenditures related to that tax by about $198,000. $643,000 at the beginning of the year fund balance increased to $841,000. And those monies can be used for future contributions to local fire and EMS agencies. The next slide is your capital projects fund. Your capital projects fund is primarily funded with transfers over from the general fund. So we saw the $1 million coming out of the general fund, and here we're going to see it coming in over to the capital projects fund to fund planned capital projects. So the revenues would primarily consist of just investment earnings, and then you have your expenditures. So during the current year, the township spent $570,000 on various capital projects, and down below I kind of outlined them all. Police Interceptor, Ford F-350, 2026 Peterbilt, gas diesel dispensers, and then probably the biggest ones are the various road and bridge repairs throughout the township during 2025. So the actual results of operations as intended are a negative $518,000 in the capital projects, which replenished with the $1 million appropriation from the general fund. So at the beginning of the year, you had $1.7 million sitting within your capital project fund. The net effect of the current year expenditures and then the transfer in is a positive $481,000. So there's $2.2 million now sitting in the capital projects fund for future capital projects that are planned by the township in future years. The next page is the enterprise fund or your trash fund. Revenues were $1.3 million, expenditures $1.1 million, positive excess of revenue over expenditures, $164,000, increase in fund balance from $659 to $823. Those monies are planned for your internal, trash program here, primarily for capital purposes. And the trash fees remain the same for 2025, and they were sufficient to meet the current year obligations. Here's the general fund balance. So like I spoke about before, here's a 10-year analysis starting with 2020. Here's where all those revenues came in that were outpacing your expenditures. Now we're kind of seeing a leveling off over the past 3 years, and now a slight little decrease in the current year. which was planned, in part by the appropriation of the capital projects fund, in the current year. And then finally, we didn't have any findings to report on internal control or financial reporting or on compliance. This audit report is filed with the Department of Community and Economic Development. The township has no debt, in terms of the only debt that the town has is related to, a couple of payments left on a backhoe that it had financed, 5 years ago. The statement of capital expenditures, we talked about a lot of those in the capital projects fund, but also there were some road paving projects that were done, in the liquid fuels fund, as well. So just because of the nature of the audit of the township, I want to reemphasize this from last year, we're able to employ pretty effective audit procedures. Since everything's on the cash basis of accounting, we confirm 100% of your cash with all of the financial institutions. We're able to test over 80% of your revenue through direct third-party confirmation through county agencies. And then also we perform tested controls of your cash disbursements and payroll activity. And then finally, we're required as part of the state audit to test compliance over state appropriations that you receive for liquid fuels, state pension aid, volunteer fire relief for the biggest ones. And then also we test to make sure that the allocation of the real estate millage is properly allocated between the general fund and the fire and the EMS. So I think, although we can't test every single transaction, we test quite a bit. In the current year, other revenues that we don't confirm, we look at supporting documentation, like a lot of rebuilding permits were tied up in that, Clipsville area school district, permit. So I think we got really good coverage, in the current year in relation to especially revenues. So, all good news, puts the township, in a good spot as you kind of move forward, in future years.
Does the board have any questions? Does the public have any questions for our auditor? Seeing none. Thank you, Carl.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, there a motion there to
We have a motion.
accept and authorize the advertising.
I make a motion to accept the 2025 audit and authorize advertisement of the condensed financial statement.
Second.
All with the proper second. Commissioner comments from the board. Hearing none. Public comment?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
How much does it cost to have an outside auditor versus elected board of auditors?
I told them.
That's a part of the course. Excuse me, no, Scott? Or what's the cost for an outside auditor?
The audit fee this year was about $5,800.
5,800?
Off the top of my head, don't know that exact.
I won't, okay.
Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Item 5.
Thanks, Mark.
We have, thank you, Carl. We have, I think, is everybody here? I think I saw everybody's in the house. Raise your hand if you're applying to be a supervisor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. We'll figure it out.
You can't count, right?
So there's no perfect way of doing this. But the process is part of a public meeting. So all the discussion, interviewing happens here. And if things all work out, hopefully we'll be able to pick a candidate that can then accept the role to fill the position that was made vacant by Mike Dombrowski on April 28th. And it would fill the current vacancy up to the end of 2027. That's when the next municipal election. So, Bob Spar, how do you go by Bob? If you won't mind being the guinea pig, so to speak, since you've earned the gray hair like some of us. Yes, sir. What we would like to do is give each applicant about 5 minutes to say whatever they want to say, express their thoughts, concerns, why. And we have about 3 or 4 key questions. We would like to try to give each applicant the same chance to answer the same questions.
Can you say anything?
You can say anything, Bob. This is America.
There you go.
5 minutes.
Hey, Al.
Yeah,
Well, he'll give you the questions first, Bob.
Oh, okay.
That way, if you want to cover them in the,
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
so can I give you this sheet of paper? These are the questions. And you can leave that up there.
circle the ones that were.
I have a tick mark next to the 4 questions that all the applicants will have an opportunity to answer.
Hey, Al, we'll start in 5 minutes.
Radio, okay. My name is Bob Spar. I live in the township since 1977, right by Door Run Presbyterian Church. I love living in East Falmouth, that's evidenced by how long I lived there, among other things. I was a township supervisor for 8 years. And back in the early 1990s and late 2000, I served a unexpired term or vacancy for a supervisor who left the area. Then I ran and was elected for 6 years. And now when I get back into rural things, I had always had an interest in government, not to mention local government. As a matter of fact, local government along with finance was one of my majors in graduate school at Penn State. Is it right if I just go down the list of questions or?
The ones with his mark next to him, not all of them.
Yeah, if you want to use that as a guide, Bob, that's,
I already asked question number 3, and that's what prompted me to want to do this. And I have a resolute interest in what goes on in the community. It's a different world compared to when I was supervisor. I fully realize that, at least I think I do. And I think it's very exciting. It can be very exciting, along with being challenging as the first time around when I was supervisor. But I was very, very fortunate when I was supervisor. And people say to me, what are you, crazy? And the thing is, I had 2 father figure supervisors, Earl Emmel and Denny Howe. And we disagreed on very little. And I used to get worried about that because if we're agreeing on everything, somebody's gonna say, well, what's going on here? So we got along very well. That's one of the things that reignited my interest in being a supervisor. Again, I don't know anybody on the board. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you and working with you.
let me, and again, you're the guinea pig. So you, what I'll say, you've touched on question 3 and 5 on the list.
Okay,
Question 6 says, what do you view as the most critical issues for the board to address? And what would you like to see in regard to the future of East Fallowfield Township?
well, controlled growth. I just found out the other day that there's no, correct me if I'm wrong on this, there's no building permits.
There's very few.
Okay, when I was supervisor, we had close to 2,500 building permits. And when I learned that there's very few, you could have floored me. But, so controlled growth. And people used to me, well, a person that was living here 50 years, 100 years, whatever. I wish we wouldn't have this growth. Well, that's always an easy thing to hang your hat on or agree with. But I often ask myself, I don't often ask myself, but I do ask myself in relation to that question. I'm sure there's people that didn't want me moving in this township when my house was being built, the development that I'm in. And usually the person that's asking me the question is usually they're here longer than I am. There was people that didn't want that individual to be moving into the township. The trick is, how far back in time do you take that? Do you go back to when the Indians were, the Lenape were here, or what? I mean, you could just go on and on. So there's no easy answer to that. And the one suggestion I have is controlled growth. But that really doesn't seem to be a problem because there's very little growth right now in the township. So that takes me to my next quandary is query, excuse me, that what are we gonna do with our deed restricted lands? Okay, we have a lot of them. I live out not too far from what used to be King Ranch. And we are very blessed in this township with all the acreage, at least I feel, with all the acreage that's deed restricted. And that apple cart can be overturned with the stroke of a pen. So I never take anything for granted, but we are blessed as far as all the acreage that we have under easement. Let me see.
Would you like me to go to the next question, Bob? We're going to number 7.
Yes,
Please describe examples of how you worked in a group setting and how those experiences could be utilized on the Board of Supervisors.
well, it'd be an easy thing for me to say that I work very well in a group setting, and I think that I do. Being the new person on the board, I would work just like that, learning and seeing, what's going on. I have to be brought up to date. I'll be the first one to admit that. And, but again, I look upon it as being a challenge. I'm enthused about it. I find it exciting. And I think I work very well in a group setting, a team player. And, just like anybody else, I have my own ideas and thoughts on certain things. And I think based on my education, my life experiences, my work experience, I've owned my own business for over 16 years. I could be an asset. I would be an asset to the township. Did I answer all that? Did I answer all that question?
Yeah, I believe, we had the 4 questions for that we identified. We want to make sure everybody answers. Is there anything else you'd like to share about it?
Just that I thank you for giving me this opportunity and being a candidate for this position. And,
And you're available every 4th Tuesday?
definitely, definitely. My wife said to me when I walked out the door, "Oh, you're not doing this again." And I said, "Okay." She said, "Well, you're not running, by the way, you're not running in 2 years." So at 73, well, I have to cross that bridge at 75 when I get to it, but, I was talking to Leon out in the porch. I never plan on retiring. As long as I can get out of bed and go to work, that's just my ilk and the way I like to be, so. I'll leave these questions here.
Yes, sir, please do.
Thank you, one and all.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Bob. Our next person on the list is Elon Scott. If that's your name wrong on the agenda, I apologize for that.
Des Moines,
Thank you.
Des Moines, Scotland.
I think you got the general gist of how we'd like you to.
Yeah, that's a tough act to follow. I'll do my best. But, it is a privilege to be here. I was trying to keep myself on board, but yeah, it's a privilege to be here. Thank you for this opportunity. My first time in this setting, I watched several, the last 2 years of YouTube videos to catch up, get myself up to speed to see what the setting is like. So, very informative. Doing Scotland, I have extensive work history. After graduation, I went to a vocational school for a machine shop. Wasn't panning out too well, so I joined the military. Served our country for 11 years. Served in Alaska 5 years. That's when I married my wife, Stephanie Scotland. She served both as the judge of election and on park and recreations. So we met, fell in love, took her back to Alaska where we finished. Moved back to Cleveland, Tennessee is where I was raised in Cleveland, Tennessee. Sorry, but after we married, we moved back here in this area. We have a daughter. We adopted our daughter. She's 30 years old now. She has 2 kids of her own. But after 20 years of marriage, God blessed us with our baby boy, DJ. So he's DJ is 16. He'll be turning 17. He's at Coatesville High School. We've been in the area for 11 years now in the township. We previously come from Delaware County, where I served on board of directors for the Boys Club. If you know about the Boys Club, our main mission and goal was to pour into young boys and watch them grow, try to be there as they mature. So that has been my passion, just be a part of the community. Since I've been back here though, or in this area, I've been very impressed with the way it's developed. I've been very impressed with them. Telling someone the other day, the road systems. I see the contractors out there constantly trying to fix the roads and make it better for the environment. Why do I want to be a part of this? I think that through my experience, my background, I've always been a team player. I always want to see things, see improvements. That's my goal, to be a part of a team and come together. Like I said, I'm just getting to that video a little bit, if you don't mind. But just watching some of that and watching some of the dialogue, I was very impressed of the way things are getting done. I see action being taken. Very impressed with that. And you can see folks' heart is in it. That was one takeaway. But the second takeaway was, from the public's view, there was some
discouragement, or I could hear the emotion from some of the public view of things that they may feel is not getting done. However, when you're going to tackle whatever case it may be, we're not always going to fix things, but we can strive to make it better. And that's what I want to do. Now come on the team that's already doing the right things. We may not fix everything, but as long as we're striving to make it better, that's very important. Currently, I work for Monroe Energy. Can't leave that out. I work for Monroe Energy. We're located in Trainer, PA. We make jet fuel for Delta Airlines. And so I've been there, going on 11 years, 12 years at Monroe Energy. And there, I work with contractors every day. So in the group setting, we work with contractors. I write permits every day, and it's my job to make sure that job is getting done. At the end of the day, it's getting done. So that's my story.
It's a good point. I'll throw these 4 questions. You may have answered them partially, so I would just say whatever you want to say. First question would be, what prompted you to seek the vacancy position on the board?
Sure. On my Facebook Live feed, came across this vacancy. And so in reading it, again, my wife is very involved, and I've always wanted to get in somewhere. So where would I fit in? Where would my skills fit in? Where would my team skills fit in? That's the leadership skills. And so looking at that and looking at the description, I said, well, maybe this is it. But then I had Paul, backed up and said, Lauren, are you a good fit? So that's the question. Am I a good fit for the team? So that's why I saw it, and it intrigued me. Again, before I came out here tonight, I stopped. Are we sure about this? But something said, man, put the suit on, let's go.
All right, sweet. So, time is up. So 3 more questions, but everybody will get a chance to answer. Please describe your work experience and whether you feel that it would help in your role as supervisor.
Right. So I've supervised over warehouse, throughout my job descriptions. I've been a warehouse supervisor. And currently with my local church, I'm associate pastor, but I serve on the finance team, So I'm helping to, I wouldn't say supervise the folks at the church, but that is my role. That is part of my role there. And again, on the job, it's a teamwork environment.
Okay, question 3 would be, what do you see as the most critical issues for the board to address? And what would you like to see in regard to the future of the township?
So when I look around the township, again, I'm impressed. Where I come from, Delaware County, I've seen some things not getting done. Okay, so I'm impressed because I do see it getting done. However, again, I go back to some of the viewpoints that I heard from the video. I don't know that we've tabled them and we're not getting back to it, or that we're continue to make strides. I think as long as we're getting better, as long as we're attacking those issues and getting better, whatever they are, we're not leaving them in the past and moving on, but we're still embracing them and getting better. We may not fix everything, but as long as we're moving forward.
I believe the last question, please describe examples of how you worked in a group setting and how those experiences could be utilized on the board.
Sure. So in our setting, I'll take my work experience. In our setting, we're given a task. Okay. Someone may have more experience than you on that task, even though it was given to you. We always need to be open-minded to others around us who may have more experience in whatever we're striving to get done. So my strong belief is, let's listen. Let's listen to everyone, not just the more experienced one, but even the fresh one coming in with the fresh eyes. Let's listen to everyone, make sure we're seeing everything, we're seeing the force for what it really looks like, and that we're not missing anything. So that's.
Any last words?
Yeah, again, thank you. This is something. It's good to see it up in person. I'm ashamed I haven't been here earlier. So it's good to see it up in person. Again, thank you for the job that you're doing. You're doing for our community.
Thank you for coming out, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was number two. Thomas Berlin, come on down. Now you've got to see how this works.
Yes, I
You
have.
should be so prepared. The floor is yours, sir.
All right, yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. So I am Thomas Berlin. My parents are Don and Jean. I've lived in the township for 25 years at this point. My mother is very involved in the Parks and Recreation group. So I saw this position as an opportunity to get more involved in the local community. So if we talk a little bit about my history, I was asked earlier where I graduated. I graduated from Bishop Shanahan. I went to Gordon Middle School before that in Coatesville. And with moving out of Shanahan, I decided that I wanted to get a little more experience with different communities, right? So I moved out to Wyoming for 2 years, returned afterwards, and then went into a sales role. After that, I worked my way up to product management, and right now I am a product manager for an industrial automation company, and I run the product management division. It's about a $1.5 billion industrial automation company. So I was actually, the vacancy on this board was brought to my attention by one of my neighbors, as an opportunity to, again, get more involved with the community. I know that there are more experienced people in terms of serving on a board like this, but I think that I have a lot of skills in terms of financial responsibility and also in improving the community and that drive. So I do have 2 children that are growing up in this township. So I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old boy. So they're going to actually be attending the new school that's being built. And I want to show them that you should be involved in the community that you're in. And I see this as the opportunity to not only set a good example for them, but also bring some benefit to the people that I share the community with. So I think in terms of my experience, I think that it's going to fit very nicely into serving on a board in terms of, working closely with people to come to a unified decision around very complex issues, and also be able to balance that with the financial responsibility and the overall budget of the community. So I think that it's important to take into account everyone's opinions and also the direction that the overall township is moving, but also make sure that we do that responsibly, because I do want to see this community grow in a very responsible way. So I do want it to be somewhere that my children can be proud to live in.
Let me know when you're ready to record questions.
Yeah, let me know. All right.
You got to go. Anyone ever? Okay, so, and you may have touched on these, but feel free to answer at your decision. What prompted you to seek the vacancy on the board?
Yeah, so this was presented to me by someone in the local community as an opportunity to get more involved, but also bring a new perspective.
Question 2, please describe your work experience and whether you feel that it would help in your role.
So my daily work experience with product management at IFM, I work with 5 product managers that I organize and work with on a daily basis. I also am responsible for a sales division that was created in the past 2 years, specifically for automation and AI deployment. So I think that leadership for those 2 groups really spans a large breadth of individuals, right? So it's not just a salesperson and their personality, but also people that are more reserved, more introspective. So I think that it really spans the gamut.
What do you see as the most critical issues for the board to address? And what would you like to see in regard to the future of the township?
So I think they're one and the same, right? I think the most important thing is going to be making sure that this community grows responsibly, to make sure that we do push or guide this community in a direction that is going to be beneficial, not only to everyone living in it, but also people who are coming from adjacent communities.
And last question, please describe examples of how you worked in a group setting and how those experiences could be utilized on the board.
Yeah, I think anytime that you're working with, different divisions within a company, different divisions with it, I mean, I'm a father too. That's going to bring some experience. But I think that anytime you're working with two very distinct groups and getting them to come together on a development in terms of a product or a new sales process or anything along those lines, I think that with those very disparate point of views, that it's brought a lot of experience on my side and a lot of benefit that I can bring to the board in terms of coming to a unified decision.
Any last comments you'd like to share with us?
Just to thank everyone for the opportunity. I hope that I can get to know everyone a little better. I do want to start coming to more of these meetings now that I know where the building is. But thank you very much.
Well, sir, thank you very much.
3 in a row.
All right, that's 3 out of 5. Is there a Dennis Crook in that house? There is. All right, you saw how we're working this, Dennis, so come on up and you have the floor.
Well, I'm Dennis Crook. Majority of you know me. I've been around here for quite a bit in the years. What's this? I've lived in this area since 1999. Been involved out here since the middle '80s. Before I moved out here. I'm originally from Iowa. Father was an industrial engineer at Maytag Company, and his man. Son is also an engineer. I missed the boat in between. So I ended up spending 50-some years in Carpenters Union, being a builder and developer myself. One of the older supervisors at the time when I first come here kept asking me for years to get more involved and wanted to know some of my knowledge and so different things. Finally talked me into it. And I started in on the planning commission. I think the second or third meeting I was there, they made me the chair of the planning commission so that we could do the comprehensive plan from that 2015. That was a lot of education in a quick period of time. Learning all the different things that's needed in the township. When I was first here, we had one person in the office and 3 supervisors. That's what ran this township. And quickly learned through that process of doing the comprehensive plan, all the different elements that the supervisors needed to know. And that I needed to know because I didn't know. So we had the help from the Chester County Planning Commission. Now, 6 months into it, I didn't even know that we had a grant, that we had to meet a certain period of time. So we finally dug in and got things going a little faster. There was a lot of issues that we went through, discussed, argued, whatever you want to call it, for hours on end, trying to come out with what we thought was the best thing. We finally put together a survey and a postcard to be sent out to everybody in the community so that we could get feedback from everybody in the community as to what they seen was important in the community also. When we did that, we got 150 people in the old school at the time. We took their opinions and worked together to try to satisfy as many as we could. We always had some areas that we still couldn't address in the period of time that we had. So we put that in the comprehensive plan as to what needed else to be done. And then afterwards, we kept going on that with every planning commission meeting that we had. We delved into those things and tried to answer those particular issues and to work forward on them. Okay, you want to ask me something now?
I'll give you the same four questions. Everybody's had an opportunity to answer. First question is, what prompted you to seek the vacancy on the board? What's your motivation?
After recovering from a lot of different things, accidents and things that's happened to me, I was kind of in a fog. That's why I resigned from the planning commission at the time. It was just problems with being able to think clear. And just here within the last 6 months, all of a sudden I'm thinking a lot clearer. People have told me backwards that, wow, you're back to your old self again. So I figured I could do a lot of help in directing and doing the things that I did before. And try to make the township go in a good direction.
Next question. Please describe your work experience and whether you feel that it would help in your role as a supervisor.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I spent 50 years now in construction, management, crews, designing, developing, knowing the international building code inside out and backwards. Wanted to learn the other side of it, so knew what to expect. As far as the people putting out permits and things like that, so we got a lot of experience in it. We also helped design different spaces, went through this. We had a lawyer on our planning commission at the time, and he kept us in line for writing some of those. 2 or 3 of them had gotten put in as part of the ordinances.
Next question. What do you see as the most critical issues for the board to address? And what would you like to see in regard to the future of the county? That's a broad question.
That's a big one. Back in the day when we were doing the comprehensive plan, one thing that I'd say the old timers didn't want to happen was to make anything south of Strasburg Road have public water or sewer, mostly because of the advancement of development. Went around and around about that to some degrees, but we had to look at the districts that are north of Strasburg Road and to see what was consistent and what wasn't consistent for public water and sewer. There's some of them that's got water, some that's just got sewer, some that's got a combination of both. And there were some different ordinances written that they're kind of spread out throughout the whole book, and it's hard to find where they're at sometimes. I think they could be consolidated into one section, would probably be a little better. I know a lot of people at the meeting we had at the school was very adamant about trying to keep our township as close to what it was when they done it. I know it's changed a lot, but that was the one thing that I kind of kept to people before.
And last, please describe examples of how you worked in a group setting and how those experiences could be utilized on the board.
Oh, boy. I found that through the experience of the planning commission and other things, that it was very important to learn what people were really good at, and when they were really good at, to kind of let them be in charge of that particular area. So we got really good responses that way to help make a team effort to come up with the best solutions that we could find at the time. I found out in many other other ways too. It's kind of like, sometimes you might think you want to lead, but sometimes it's better if somebody else is more experienced or better at something to kind of step back and let them take the reins too.
Any closing remarks?
Well, I just enjoyed the time I was here working with people, watching the township grow, and hope I can be part of that again and contribute as much as I can. Thank you all.
Great, thank you, Dennis. Okay, number 5, we have Eric Shane Floyd.
Not fun.
You have the floor, sir.
You fair? All right, we've been here before, right? We did this last year, which was a great experience. I found it interesting that 4 Democratic board members selected a Republican to fill their seat. I'm not sure how your constituents felt about that, if they even knew, but I guess diversity is great. You know, basically I have the same thing to say this year that I had to say last year. You guys need my help. You guys are not good at what you do. You don't know what you're doing. It's usually when Scott tells you something's happening here that you even realize that it's happening. You don't ask the right questions. You don't do the due diligence. You don't do the analysis. You don't make the right decisions because of those, right? Those are the things that I would bring to the table. I'm sure that answers one of the questions, right? Those are the things I bring there, right? I am analytical. I am an engineer. I do the due diligence. I look into the different options. And the biggest thing, and maybe what the other ones didn't hit, that I haven't seen you guys here. I know you served your time. I appreciate that. I don't know if you were on the board when they passed the ordinance to make people connect to public utilities, and if that was around 2008, I believe. But the biggest issue is you are not representing your constituents. You are not listening to your constituents. You are not, how many outstanding complaints do I have right now that I have not heard back about? Can you answer that question?
This is
Yeah, this is part of the interview, right? I have outstanding complaints. They have not been addressed by the board or by the township management. Okay, so if a resident files a complaint and no one cares, then what are you guys doing? Do you realize there are outstanding complaints? Do each of you, and I'm looking at each of you, do you look at these complaints? Do you talk to Scott about these complaints? Do you address these complaints? Do you understand? Do you reach out to residents? I would assume absolutely not. I assume from what I've seen and my experience, you guys don't do much of anything. You don't do much of anything. Scott does all the work, right? He gets paid all the money. He makes all the decisions, and he kind of fills you in on some stuff. But even he can't answer the questions that you should be asking because you are the elected representatives. You are the ones here to represent everyone in this township, and you suck at it. All of you suck at it because you're not doing it the right way. You're not listening to residents. You're not making the right decisions. That's how I feel. So that is, I feel like I would be a priceless asset to this team because that alone, right? Just listening to residents and actually being a representative makes a huge difference. And that's what I think the people of this township need. So what are the biggest issues with this township right now? One, we are severely overtaxed. And you could see it from, I don't know if he's still here. Did he leave? Okay. There is so much excess money in this township, right? Because of the things you think you want to do that the residents don't agree with, or just to have excess money. Now, I understand at one point in this township, we were not healthy, and that was before Scott got here. And if Scott kind of turned that tide, that's incredible. That's great. He got his money's worth at some point. But then it started to be too much. It started to be, you were not held accountable, right? People did not come to the meetings. When I started coming, there were never this many people sitting in these seats. There were never this many people watching online because you all refused to stream these meetings, right? So you were overtaxing these residents, all of us, for projects that you think you want to do that people don't agree with. That is, to me, the biggest issue right now. You don't listen, right? And I know it's not all of you. There are 2 of you specifically that force this bag ban down our throats. And I am absolutely grateful that that was reversed, right? Because that is what the majority of the residents in this township wanted. And if the majority wanted a bag man, I would support that. Because I don't have an agenda. I'm not trying to get things done that I want, right? I want to know what the residents at large in this township want. And I want you guys to do that. And I want to be on that board so that I can also do that. But you are not doing that at all. And I don't know why. Maybe you have a reason, right? Why have we not looked into in-house trash? I am getting all the data from West Bradford. They're going to give me every single part of what they do for their in-house trash to build a business case to show that we're going to save a significant amount of money, a significant amount of tax dollars, and you guys won't even do the business case. When I asked for a business case, all you did was you brought a Blazinski rep in here to say, we're going to pick up one bulk item a week. No one fucking asked for that. No one asked for that. You know what people ask for? Pick up my recycling every week, like every other township around us. So I don't understand why, when I propose this idea that's going to save a ton of tax dollars, you guys just ignore it completely. And not only do you ignore it, but you twist it into, oh, look, we're going to dangle a carrot. That to me says something shady is going on. It doesn't make sense. And Occam's razor says the simplest answer is usually the right answer. Something shady is going on. Otherwise, why wouldn't you do the due diligence? Why wouldn't you show? Prove to me it wouldn't work. Prove to me you wouldn't save money. That, to me, it just doesn't make sense.
Are you ready for the 4 questions?
Yes, sir. I think I answered a few of them.
Okay,
Inadvertently.
again,
That's fine.
there's overlap, but get to answer at your pleasure. What prompted you to seek the vacancy to be on the board?
I would like to be on the board to absolutely represent the residents of the township. And I feel like that is a huge gap with the current.
Please describe your work experience and whether you feel that it would help in your role as a supervisor.
My work experience, as you've seen from my resume, is vast. It is unparalleled. I have been everywhere from Ernst & Young, the largest accounting firm in the world, in Manhattan, to building fighter jets in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm currently a principal engineer, the highest ranking engineer at Penske Logistics, doing logistics optimization. I have started a few businesses. I build apps. I do, kind of anything and everything. If I feel it's worthwhile, I will figure it out and I will do it. So what I bring to the table from my breadth and depth of experience is there are a lot of problems, and actually that's great. My last few right to know requests, because there are several outstanding, have been met with, oh, we need 30 days because we don't have enough. Oh, I forget the wording. Do you know the wording, Scott? When you don't have enough resources? Staffing limitations. Yeah, we have staffing limitations. This comes after the township says we are going to work 20% less every week. So now I have to wait another 30 days because they're taking every Friday off, right? So either you can't get it done in 5 days because you're not working enough, or you just use that as an excuse now to push off my right to know request 30 days. That's fine. Now, if it needs legal review, we can argue about that. But what I would bring to this office is some optimization, right? We need a value stream map. We need to figure out, and I asked Mike Dombowski this because he was my favorite supervisor. I don't think that's any secret. But I asked him, and this disappointed me. I said, how do we need another, this is when you all proposed the budget for another person in there. And I said, how do you justify with what they're doing in there today to add another 40-hour person versus finding ways to make it more optimal in that office? And he said, I don't really know what they do in their day-to-day. And as someone running this township, as one of 5 people running this township, if each and every one of you does not know what happens day to day in this office, you are not doing your job, right? You are not overseeing Scott's job, right? You are just giving him free reign to do what he wants. And he just says, hey, I need another 40-hour person in here. Why don't we put it in the budget, which you guys approved, right? So rather than, and the same with the school district, they are on my dartboard, right? The school district. Instead of increasing 3.5%, why can't we cut 3.5%, right? Because we don't have the right people in there to make those decisions and to make those cuts or to make things more optimal. and more efficient and more productive, right? We just say, let's just raise taxes, like that's the easiest answer. So that's what I would bring.
Last question. Please describe examples of how you worked in a group setting and how those experiences could be utilized on the board.
This is, and I thought about this one, and this is a tough one because most group settings I've worked in have been with competent people who know what they're doing, right? They're good at their jobs and they have different skill sets, right? And as I started, right, this speech saying, you guys don't know what you're doing and you're not good at what you do. So you absolutely need the help. We would balance each other out. So that is, I think that's the crux of it, right? Between the four of you and five, even with Mike, who was an engineer, he was an industrial engineer, right? Like, and that is my training, industrial engineer, MBA, whatever. You guys, if you can do better, you should do better. If you want to admit you can't do better, resign. Like, then just don't do it, right? But there's no reason you can't do better. And I would love to help do better.
Any last comments?
No, I'm good. I think I said enough. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we've heard from our five applicants. Robert, Thomas, Dennis, and Eric. We have an opportunity to obviously deliberate, discuss whatever the board would like to share with us as a public.
Before you do that, I would just like to say that we had a very impressive, group of candidates. Thanking each and every one of you for volunteering and coming in for that.
I think we're all sitting here thinking because we have, it's a first world problem. We have a slate of people that it's hard to pick one. But pick one we must. Because it is obviously in the best interest of the township to make sure we have a full complement of supervisors to get the work of the township complete. What, if there's no objection, I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make the motion to appoint Robert Spar as our township supervisor for the term to expire December 31st, 2027.
Second.
There has been a second by Kat. Board discussion.
Just want to go on record again to say that we've had many, many great candidates here. Mr. Spar is a former supervisor. He was actually a chairman of the board at one time. Been in the community a long time, and that is a significant strength. And I don't feel it should be any judgment on any other candidate, because there are some great ones here. It's really a difficult decision.
All right, anything else from the board? If not, are there any public comments on this motion? No?
Philip, East Battlefield. Robert Spar, where you been? You're nominating somebody who I haven't seen him in the last year. So he's so involved that he hasn't been here. Where's he been? And you're nominating. Where's he been? You tell me where he's been. Has he been here? You can answer. You're allowed.
I choose not to answer.
Oh, well, he hasn't been here. I'm not saying he's not qualified, but he hasn't been here.
Okay,
So what's he care if he hasn't been here? Like, that's just, recycling works in some aspects. Kat, you'll appreciate that recycling is a good thing, but we don't recycle people. So, just where you been?
any other comments?
Also, and with all due respect, I'm sure you did your time, right? But, I don't know if I asked you 20 questions, how many you could answer about what's happened the last 3 years I've been here, right? I've come to every meeting. There have been some very disappointing things from the board. And there have been a few okay things too. But I think, like if I quizzed you on the township building, could you tell me exactly what their plans are for our township, right? I don't know, right? That stuff wasn't addressed. I didn't have enough time to go through all the problems that we've been through over the past 3 years. Or the things that I think are gonna steer this township in the wrong direction, or the fiscal irresponsibility of this township, even though we're healthy as a township. So it honestly is no disrespect to you, but I think, with several of the people who were up here tonight, same thing that Philip said, where have you been? And, I know you can watch it online, that's fine, but you're not here giving your voice, making your voice known, right? You're not here fighting with the rest of us, that we're here every single meeting trying to make this fight. So I agree, Al, like where does this come from? I don't know. It doesn't, there are a lot more things that are just starting to not make sense. This is why democracy is much better than republic in some cases, right? In some cases, because what qualifies you for to make this decision, right? When you all were elected by the residents, what qualifies you to fill this seat as four people who just happened to get on a ballot, right? Because the party backed you, as people who had friends walking around with them, helping them campaign, right? I don't know if you're qualified to make this decision. So at least if you're making this decision, like put a little more effort into it.
I'd like to give you some clarity.
Yes, sir.
According to the Pennsylvania General Assembly,
Mhm.
the second class township
Oh,
code
oh yeah, right.
gives this board that right.
I didn't say it does, no, I didn't say it doesn't give you the authority. I don't know if I would call it right. It gives you the authority, right? Just like it gives you the authority to force Blazinski to collect our trash instead of letting us choose. It gives you the authority, right? And then you have to be responsible and you have to be accountable and you actually have to be a representative of your constituents, which I don't think you are doing and I don't think you have done. And I don't trust that you will do. So I understand the second class township code. Trust me, I've probably read more of it than you, right? But I appreciate you bringing that up. Thanks, sir. Anything else? You good?
Thank you for your comment. Call for the vote? Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at it.
I'm not gonna stand. I just wanna know, like, are we allowed to ask questions of the candidates? Like, can we ask
We
them,
have
like,
a
just for
say.
clarification?
We don't have to say.
Well, that's why I'm asking, so we can try and get
That's
some.
wrong. It's wrong.
Well,
You should have said.
You're welcome to make your comments now.
So, it was literally just a question, actually, it was for, Mr. Berlin. You said, and actually, you might not have just said it, so I think Mr. Sparrow, you might have too, about the growth of the community and, having a slow pace, but a growth of the community. My question is, what do you define as growth? Are you talking about bringing in more businesses? Are you bringing in more, homes? So what kind of growth are you looking for? Like, I know you said you really enjoy having the, deed restricted areas and that we do and are blessed with a lot of, open space. I myself personally do enjoy that as well. So what kind of growth are you looking for? Are we gonna end up having more people than we can sustain with our roads and where we're gonna end up, what's the growth?
Well,
Where,
Courtney, I hear your comment and
that's why I said, can I ask them questions? Cause it's not so
well,
much
we
a
have,
comment.
we just spent the half hour interviewing our. and
I understand you interviewed Al. What I'm saying is there is a continuation of that question. You say growth, but what does growth mean to you?
That,
You could ask that and I would have liked to have heard you ask that, but, or even have that be part of the question. Let's put it that
well,
way.
we asked everybody the same questions.
Again,
Some people-
I'm not
Some people
arguing
talked
that,
about
Al.
growth.
I
I don't
just
wanna
mean-
read Bob's mind, cause
But that's why I
tell us
said, what is your definition of growth? That's why I said, can we ask these candidates? Because you get to choose. You get to choose. And I'm not sitting here saying that you don't have the authority. We're not gonna get into the authority or rights comment. But you have the authority, but I want to make sure that y'all ask questions that I have questions on. And if we're talking about growth, I just want to know, it's a very simple question. What does growth mean? Does it mean more people or more businesses? More revenue from taxes or more revenue from business taxes?
I don't have an answer to that question, and I think.
I know
the
you
word
don't
growth
have,
doesn't-
that's
So,
why I said
And I'm not
out
gonna,
them,
if
not you.
if I start putting applicants in front
Never
to
have.
answer random questions, I have to give everybody an opportunity.
You can do that though.
Well, can
Well,
we do that?
You have all the authority in the world to do that. We have
No.
nowhere to be.
Where there is a motion on the floor, it has been seconded, the board has commented, the public has commented.
So
If there-
when would we have had the opportunity to then ask that question now?
We just sat here for an hour and talked.
But you sat there for an hour and talked to them, but we are sitting here as residents, Al, I'm not trying to argue with you.
Accept any more public comments.
I mean, your comment is duly noted, and we can talk about the growth thing as time goes on.
Time goes on when, Al, these are questions you wanna know before you say yes to people.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not trying to
I-
be difficult, Al, I
hear
just
you,
want
I hear your
a
comment,
question.
but the process is complete, so.
It's not complete, because you haven't voted on it.
You have no, yeah,
Right.
so nothing is
You
complete,
can
Al.
bring every single
You
person
asked
up
for
there to
comment.
answer the same question.
You all just wasted your time.
I'm not trying to make this difficult, Al.
I understand, and I wanna hear you, and all I can say now is your comment is noted.
But
Well,
then
can
you're.
one of you maybe ask the question?
Can I ask
If-
on my behalf?
No, because there is a motion on the floor, it has been seconded.
Is there a
And
time
once
limit on the
comment-
motion?
Once
Can you
comments
table?
are complete from the public, this vote will be called.
So you can't even table the motion.
No,
You can't
the
ask
motion
the
was seconded. It is on the floor for action. If there are no
Let's
more
let you
public,
go through it.
are there any
It'll be
more public
discussed.
comments?
Nobody behind me?
No, you're good,
Take
Connie.
it on information.
Yeah, go
I get
ahead.
it, I get it.
Connie,
You can sit, Connie.
Yeah, well, I don't mind standing. Nobody's ever said we can't hear you, Connie. One thing, like, I value the experience, of some people, but I also think it might be really valuable. Your other three candidates are very shake it up, bring in fresh blood, things they've never thought of, somebody who really doesn't know the same old, somebody who's going to make you think and challenge you or say, well, why is it we do things that way? What if we did this? Because maybe they're learning or not. Because, you know, even though I do respect all of you for different reasons, things you do have good skills or thought patterns about, there seems to be a lot of, the only way I can say it is same old, same old. Especially with hearing from the people and representing the people, which he does make a good point about that. And maybe the other people didn't necessarily bring that up because they're not necessarily here all the time or watching every single episode of what we've only recently been able to stream for everybody to hear. I mean, if we could have been doing that for years, oh my God, this room would be packed. We need that new building already to put all the people in it. Because people would be really questioning stuff and more aware of things.
Should now.
It's technology age. I don't know why we took so many decades to get to that point. Even when I can't make it, I watch it twice. And when I'm here, I go home and I watch it a few days later, because there might be something I missed. It just, I see them, it could really matter if somebody who's not the same old was up there making everybody think and saying, why are we spending this? Or should we think about this a little more? Should we research this? Should we ask somebody to research this for us even? Just because. Even there were things I was gonna research and bring, but I didn't wanna shake up the meeting with something new when you were gonna be doing this with the people, so. I mean, I see it's a tough decision. And I agree with her, even if you brought everybody up and gave them 1 minute to say why, what they mean by growth. Or maybe some people didn't bring up growth and they don't want to talk about growth. Maybe there's only 2 or 3 that need to come up and say, this is what growth means to me and this is what I want to stop or not stop. So just curious.
Thank you.
So thanks for listening.
All right, call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Aye. Heard a 3-1. Motion passes 3-1.
Status quo.
Is it? All right. Item C, election of chairperson. I move we table this item till next month.
You have to jump back to the treasury.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm skipping back. Read. Treasurer's report, April 30, proposed motion. And make a motion to approve the April 30, 2026 treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
Second, move to property second. Board comment. Public comment. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Totally.
Aye.
Payment authorizations. I make a motion for the payment authorization for the period of April 29, 2026 through May 26, 2026, the amount of $357,005.48.
Second.
Move to proper second. Board comment. Public comment. Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed. Managers report.
Hi, everyone. Excuse me. First on the list, agenda, there's a proposed resolution in the board's packet. We wanted to thank Mike Domboski with a resolution of appreciation. He is out of town. We did invite him tonight. Unfortunately, he could not be here, but there is a resolution of appreciation and commendation in the board's packet. We will make sure we give that to him, and that will be available on the website as well.
We thank Mike for his service. I met Mike first on the planning commission when Dennis was chair back in 2018. Mike put a lot of work and effort into our community, and he will be sorely missed. Thank you, Mr. Dombrowski.
Yeah, thank you.
Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2026-08, amending Michael Dombrowski for the longstanding service and dedication to the township police scholarship.
Second, move to proper second. Board comment.
Mike, he did a good job. He was
Any else?
devoted and he was conscientious and he was dedicated and he had a lot of experience and I appreciate that.
Hopefully some of him rubbed off on, oh, I know a little bit rubbed off on me. I hope it rubbed off on everybody. I'll do it.
Aye.
Aye.
Public comment.
Now can I ask?
Oh, I'm sorry.
on
I'm
top?
sorry. You have anything to say? I'm sorry. Okay.
You guys did him a disservice.
Okay. Thank you for your time. The election of chairperson. I moved to table this item until next month. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Cat, for the second. That item is tabled. Item D. Oh, well, I wait to vote on the table.
Yeah.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Or
Mr. Lane.
Aye.
or
Resignation of Kathleen Moffett as zoning hearing board member for term ending December 31, 2028. I make a motion accepting the resignation of Kathleen Moffett as zoning hearing board member.
Second.
Move with a proper second. Board comment.
Al, I just wanted to clarify, Kathleen would like to resign and become an alternate. She's looking to make room for a new member, Steve Dobson, who I think is here tonight. So she will not go far. She's just, if you look at the next motion, she wants to be an alternate.
I'm glad we're not losing Kathleen completely. She's worked, I don't know how many years are we over. Public comment. Seeing none, call for the vote.
Aye. Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Appointment of Kathleen Moffett as zoning hearing board alternate. I make a motion to adopt the resolution 2026-09, appointing Kathleen Moffett as the alternate zoning hearing board member for the term ending December 31, 2028. Do I have a second?
Second.
Yeah, second, board comment? Public comment? Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Item F, appointment of Steve Dobson to the zoning hearing board. I make a motion to adopt resolution 2026-10, appointing Steve Dobson as a zoning hearing board member for the term ending December 31, 2028.
Second.
Move with a proper second. Board comment. Public comment.
Mr. Thompson here? Okay.
Thank you for stepping up to serve. Zoning is a whole separate world.
Is there anything you want to say, Mr. Dawson? No?
You good?
He has good experience.
Yeah.
I've seen his resume, so. Happy that he's joining.
Thank you for coming out. Call for the vote. Aye. Thank you. Item G, sale surplus property, 2017 Chevy Tahoe VIN, you can see. I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-11, authorizing the sale of the surplus property as presented.
Second.
Move with a proper second. Board comment.
I have a question, curiosity. If you know, do you know how many miles on it? I'm just curious.
110,000.
What's the asking price?
It'll be on our municipal website. Thank you.
Is that gonna be on,
Gov deals. We sell these on Gov deals.
okay, great. Any public comment?
How much?
It's
So, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you accept? I didn't know if it was getting like listed outright or.
That's good. All right, call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Informational Sawmill Road Culvert.
Yeah, Al, last on the list, the township is waiting on Pico to complete your utility relocation design. We expect, within the next month or so to get that back and, that the project will begin this summer. So we're just, again, waiting on Pico right now.
It's pretty much Pico does things at their own pace.
Yes, yeah.
Everything else is ready to go.
Everything's ready to go.
All right, thank you for that update. Legal, Mr. Cross.
Sure, so the first thing in our packet is a draft policy statement that one of the supervisors requested to be put together on the townships. I've got to clarify for everyone, including the public, the townships relationship, this is best in terms of federal ICE immigration enforcement. So under Pennsylvania and state law, with the separation of powers, that the township is not an arm of ICE or the federal government. There is a program, they're called 287G programs, by which local police departments can undertake that role. There's a whole, obviously a lot of red tape and regulation that goes along with it. The township is not participating, it hasn't participated, nor is any police department in Chester County, I believe in Delaware County or Montgomery County either. Doing so. So this is just our statement to clarify for that for the public.
Okay, and that's in the packet, so it's already out for public,
It is, yeah.
and it'll be on the website.
Yes.
Great. Any board comment? Any public comment?
Why is that?
Why is that? Why are we doing it?
Yes, what Mike just said about, what we just said.
Like we're
Yeah, roll-
participating in it.
Policy statement.
Yeah, about that, I mean, why is that? Because I heard this is a sanctuary county. So if there's people here that shouldn't be here, shouldn't they be dealt with?
No, so the township is generally neutral on that stuff. A lot of people,
Yeah, but that's dangerous. You got people who shouldn't be here.
no, I understand that, but a lot of people think that state government and federal government are kind of one and the same. So this just clarifies that.
Oh, I got you.
That there's a separate, like we're not the FBI, we're not ICE.
Right.
The Township Police Department, with Chief Osborne, does I think a great job. Its role is to keep the peace, and it has to kind of thread the line with some of these more controversial issues and non-controversial issues to kind of balance those. But their main thing is public safety. They're not authorized under the law.
Because that's a main concern with people not being here that shouldn't be here in this country right now. And I remember years ago, I lived on First Avenue in Coatesville, and there was some Mexican guys living next door to me. And they would get tickets and they would get things, and they would just rip them up and laugh, saying, you know, we don't have to worry about this. And fake IDs, they would just, oh, you know, so I mean, it's a real thing. I think that it should be dealt with. And I just, you know, I think it's something that needs to be addressed. That's all. You know, I understand that the designation between federal and state and local authorities.
I get that. It's because nobody wants to override, but you need to work together and listen to us because, just from where I live, there's been a lot of thievery going on. I talked to my neighbor the other day, he just stopped by for a minute. I've never met him before. And he stopped by, and I thought he would be here tonight because he was having some issues. And, said he got some things, a lot of things stolen from him. And that's why I don't feel safe where I live, because all these people get ripped off. I don't know who's ripping them off. I don't know. So, I mean, if you don't have documentation on people and they're going around ripping people off, or if they hit you in your car and they don't have insurance, guess who pays for that? I do. Not you guys, not them, I do. So that's why I think it's so important that we address this. If you get pulled over and you don't have proper documentation, that's a problem. I have to keep my stuff legal and go through all these hoops and jump and every year it seems like it gets higher and higher and higher, and hoops get more and more and more. But those people just walk scot-free and nothing gets done. So that's all I'm saying is that needs to be addressed. And so is some of these other things that people brought up in here tonight, because this is a one-sided clown show, man. I'm tired of hearing this crap.
There was one ICE incident, it was in the board packet that was mentioned that did happen, and then the police were notified after the fact.
Yeah.
So something did happen, but that is their prerogative as federal government agency. They can go do what they want, and then just, as a courtesy, what
I
happened.
got you. That's all.
Yeah, wait, look.
Any more comments? No? Call for the vote? Aye.
Next in the packet, or Scott, you handed that out, the township is a proposal for David Weaver to do the agricultural haying of the township property at 221 Wilmington Road. Would be $500 per cut. This would only be for this year. And I think we've got a minimum of 2 cuts there. It's just to cut the grass and the hay as it gets applied on.
Do I have a motion?
I move that the township approve the agreement as presented with David Weaver for the agricultural haying of the township owned property of 221 Wilmington Road.
Second. Is this the same outfit that does the parkland, Scott?
No, it's not. There's
Different
someone different.
Similar idea, though?
Similar idea, yes.
You have an arrangement, there's some monetary compensation, they get the hay.
The monetary compensation would only be with this property, the other
Will
one.
they take the hay off 221?
Yes, yes,
All right, it's just for this year, we'll figure out, make sure we're.
correct.
Is this in line with past years?
I'm
Is
sorry.
this in line with past years? Like have we done?
Oh, past years.
Sorry.
Oh, David Weaver has not done this property before. The other property that is done, there's no monetary exchange on that one.
Yeah.
So we have not done it on this property.
Other comment?
I didn't know, are we paying 500 or we're getting 500?
That was my question.
I'm sorry, I misspoke.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering, that's why I'm asking, why are we giving money if you get that?
For frame of reference, I've got these kind of agreements in 2 other communities. One is a much larger property. They get $600 per year total. That's more crop though, like active crop as opposed to cutting and haying. And another one is like 550. Again, bigger crop.
Any other comment? Call for the vote?
Aye.
Aye, motion passed.
Next, just informational, there was a variance request, a variance application received for 2580 Strasburg Road. This is the vet, and they're proposing, additional parking. The number of parking spaces,
Just for anyone that,
yes. I think it's like 15 additional parking spaces, if I'm not mistaken. So that, that obviously goes before the zoning hearing board. It's an independent quasi judicial body that makes its own decision. Our board can remain neutral. You can be supportive of the application, or you can oppose the application. So it's kind of your prerogative.
So
You wanna do either?
we expanded the telephone. They had one about the building, right? They expanded or before we paved over them. Some issue down there.
they did do an expansion like 5 years ago.
That's what it was.
Any other board comment? Any public comment?
As the
Just
board,
informational, so. just-
I know, but as, just as informational, going off of what Mr. Crotty said, as far as your involvement, should you choose to be, if they're gonna add more parking, there definitely needs to be some further additional stormwater management, because they've already covered most of their property with impervious surface. So where's the water go?
Yes,
And we already have a problem.
so
No,
that's
point
good.
taken.
Yeah, point received, but they have to, this is just the zoning, so they still have to go through the stormwater management permit application process, submit plans, those get reviewed by the township engineer, and they have to address all.
Yeah, I just don't know where they're gonna put it.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and they will have to answer those questions during the process.
I kind of wanted it noted.
That's all I.
Thank you, Mike. Park and Rec report was submitted. We have a proposal for painting on people for space painting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion that the township approve a proposal from paintings on people in the amount of $1,040 from the township's Park and Rec Fund for 4 summer special events.
Second. Any board comment?
Harry, have any
Another
public?
moving part of our active Park and Rec group. Any public comment? Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Planning Commission, no report submitted. Police report, April police report has been submitted. Purchase of taser from Axon Enterprise. Do I have a motion? I'll make a motion approving the purchase of 14 tasers and related accessories from Axon Enterprise Inc. in the amount of $19,541.50 from the township's capital fund. Do I have a second?
Second.
Move the proper second. Board comment.
Al, just want to clarify, it's actually 4 tasers. There's
It's 14
accessories.
there, 4.
Yeah, it's
That's why I
actually
counted
14. 14,
4
holsters.
tasers. We only need 4
Yeah.
tasers. Okay, thank you.
One is a problem.
I do have a question, board, if I can, just curious. What kind of the lifespan, how long would you expect?
They last about 8 to 10 years.
Professional machine down the shore of the freeway.
So do we have tasers before, or is this new?
We have tasers currently, but they are 8 to 10 years old. And
Okay.
these would be the newer, actually jumping forward 3 generations, I think.
Oh, okay.
Players are
Very new and improved.
Yes,
Okay.
the ones we have are no longer supported.
Or do we usually do the entire supply at once, or is there anything some kind of partial basis that I do that? Is there a benefit, like, staggering it?
Staggering is difficult because then you get into training issues and you have multiple different types of things, and we don't want different officers carrying different things. So it is kind of a
It's a completely different.
complete replacement and removal of the old and input of the new.
Can you just explain what is the improved part from the old issues that you had with?
One of the features that is new that these don't have, this one that we currently carry only fires 1 cartridge, where the newer design permits 2 cartridges to be fired. If there were multiple people or the first one didn't reach the target or something like that, you would have a second option without having to reload or do different things like that. So it's like literally.
Does the training, excuse me, I'm trying to ask a question. Thank you. Is training included with this price, or is that separate?
Training is, we have our own in-house officer trained in training us on this particular device.
Okay.
He goes every 2 years for recertification to train the department, and they supply the in-house education, PowerPoints, directions, and everything like that to perform the training. And incorporated into this is also the number of training cartridges that the officers would be firing to practice those skills.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Chief. Off the vote.
Public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was- Let's hear some more from the public.
I had tried to fit this in because it has to do with the police report on the tasers themselves. So it's all
Okay.
part of the police department. You recently submitted results from a jammer thing, and I just don't understand how it works. So if you can take me to school, because from 413 to 512, the one on Cumberland Drive,
Yes,
registered 59 cars. I drive past that stick 4 times a day.
right.
How is there only 59 cars that this thing recognizes?
We believe that those results were somewhat out of whack as well. The date periods were not correct because that's when it began. So the date of it being there a month is not correct.
Okay,
There were periods of time when the batteries weren't working properly. We made some adjustments there. So it operates like a radar type counting device, not the ones that run across the road. So it actually picks up radar signals of objects or vehicles moving past it.
because it got the lawnmower at 8 miles an hour.
Or someone looking at the pond. One
But
of
it
the
did
two.
not get the vehicle that I know. I know there's at least one vehicle in that goes through the neighborhood that passed that box while it was there at least 45 miles an hour, and that was never registered.
We questioned the results of that particular study. We
I
had,
saw the box went up again.
yes, we were going to try to reestablish it.
Okay.
We were not satisfied with those results.
All right, that was,
So we are still actively trying to get results. We don't know if it's a positioning on it. We had to install the pole, even have the device affixed in that neighborhood because there's no suitable telephone poles or utility poles, or trees that we would normally utilize. So we are still trying to vet out that data.
All right.
I wasn't gonna withhold results that I thought were inaccurate. I did send them out to the person who requested them.
yeah.
But I do question their actual accuracy.
All right.
I don't think it was
It's
right.
nice to hear that we aren't the only ones to question it.
Right, yeah, I don't think it's correct, and we're working to try and get a better reading.
All right, thank you very much.
If there are people speeding, what actions do you take? Right? I mean, what is the result of a bad, study?
So if you're saying, what happens if we do this study and there's
A ton of speeders.
a ton of speeders and it is just vehicle mayhem? We would make recommendations to the township manager and to the board to take whatever appropriate slowing options that they could take. There's a myriad of different traffic calming measures that could be taken. And we would forward that study with the results and say, hey, we believe there's a problem here. We could take, avenues of enforcement. We would have to install lines. The speed timing devices that we use require somewhat antiquated ways and methodologies versus radar that's approved by the state police. So we would utilize those types of things to address if we were to discover that there is an outrageous type of problem occurring.
Yeah, and I appreciate you guys do this, and it would be great if even you had like a sign-up sheet, because I know there are a lot of residents who complain about people speeding. And that brings me back to the Park Avenue study, right? I mean, do you know that it was working well then? Because I know it feels like people are speeding outside my house, and anyone who has kids, they probably feel like cars are speeding outside their house. But I assume the Jamar box was correct and accurate, and their study came back and said.
I'm comfortable with how the Park Avenue study came out.
Okay.
I was confident it was within
There's a lot.
parameters. Yeah, it was
Okay.
over 900
That's-
cars in a week.
Okay,
So that is more realistic towards what you would expect that
Okay.
roadway to experience. And then when we put it on more busy roads, we see stronger results. I didn't think that 69 cars were correct. So we were trying to get a better result for them.
Yeah.
And that report has not been forwarded to the township manager or anything like that, because we're still actively working to get something that we consider to be accurate
Yeah.
before we send it. And I don't know if we have to investigate our device itself, it is aging, and see if it's working properly. I know we have battery problems. things.
I might do an old school study and have a camera and 2 chalk lines. And just because you know how many frames, it's 60 frames per second, right? So it's very easy to see what the average speed is. It takes a little more work, but it would be insanely accurate, right, to see. And then I could let you know if it's the Johar box or if it's the perception of the residents that are a little overzealous, like.
I believe that people perceive speed differently when they're standing alongside of the roadway versus when they drive their cars. So,
All right, thank you.
This is true.
Any more comment, Courtney?
I'd like to expand on that a little bit. I notice a lot of things just on my travels because, I notice things because I have to. I notice a lot of people running stop signs, stop lights, speed limits. I just think they're worthless anymore because nobody obeys them, especially on these highways. You get on these highways, you're doing 65 and they're blowing by you doing 90. I'm just saying that some of the stuff that we're doing here, or you're talking about, is like, it's just a given that people are gonna do these things. It's a given that people are gonna speed. People speed by my house all the time. I can tell when they're speeding because I look out the door and I can see them flying by. It's not rocket science. I mean, you guys are making this out to be like, oh, we don't know. We're just throwing stuff in the air and see what sticks. I see it on the road all the time because I'm on a motorcycle and these people are trying to run me off the road. Dude, I got a Bible on the back of my vest and they're trying to run me off the road. I'm a Christian, for crying out loud. So the point I'm trying to make is some of these studies and things, I get it. You want to know where the bad areas are, but I think they're all bad areas. And I think what you're trying to do by ticketing people and making them pay fines is kind of like a reverse psychology, because you want people to stop doing this ahead of time. You want to prevent preventive maintenance instead of after the fact, which is what I see this whole country doing. Everybody wants to create the problems and then try and fix them. And it's like, let's reverse that a little bit and think ahead of schedule. Like, well, we know this is going to happen, so let's prevent this from happening. How do we do that? How do we prevent these things from happening? Instead of just locking people up and putting them in jail, because I tell you what, it doesn't work. It just makes people angrier. And when you throw somebody a ticket, especially nowadays, because you keep raising the damn taxes and everything else, nobody can afford this stuff anymore. So then you give somebody a ticket and they're not cheap anymore. I mean, knock on wood, I haven't had one in a while because I do obey the laws. But a lot of these people don't. So people like me are the ones that pay for those people that don't. And if you don't arrest them, and I don't see a lot of people getting pulled over anymore. Like I said, people are flying down the road and that just disturbs me because they're on their phones and you just passed some kind of ordinance about the cell phone thing, but people are going to laugh at that. They don't care. They just don't care. And that's what you got to think about is these people. We got to think about these people. They've been through so much crap in the past couple of years. They don't care about nothing. So whatever you're going to do, they don't respect the police. They don't respect authority. So there you go. They're, in a nutshell, that's what you're dealing with. I see it every day because I'm dealing with these people and I'm dealing with the results of that. I deal with the results of the drunks and the drug addicts because they come to my group and then guess what? They get some reality when they come to my group because I tell them how it is. And that's the way it should be. You can't beat around the bush. You got to get right to the point and focus, man. That's what I'm all about. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comment? Call for the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Public Works, April Road Department report submitted for board review. We have an item to recommend a hire a seasonal public work employee. Do I have a motion? I make a motion to appoint Brandon Schilling as a seasonal grass cutter in the Public Works Department at the hourly rate of $17.
Second.
Move with a proper second. Board comment. Public comment. Call for the vote. Aye, motion passes. Environmental Advisory, no report submitted. Historic Commission, no report submitted.
Can I comment on that?
Connie from Historical, please.
I just wanted to, I'm surprised that there was a letter.
We
sent-
did see that
We did see
communication on the one topic. It just isn't an action item right now.
No one's actually made a vote or anything.
Okay.
I
Was that a
Was that
question?
everything?
Sort of, I mean,
It sounded like a
I know it
question.
goes to you guys. I think you're supposed to decide whether or not we should do what is in the letter, or if that should move on to the landowner or whatever.
So it's in process. Okay,
Is the property owner waiting for something?
No, he's about to be notified or something.
Okay,
which
so you want him to be notified sooner before he does something he's not supposed to?
No, he's been doing it wrong for.
Alright, so there's no urgency.
Any old business from the board? Any new business? Public participation. Let's hear from the public. I see a man back there, Dennis. Dennis, would you like to come up, sir? If you heard better?
Yes. On new business. I know.
This is whatever you want to talk about.
Well,
This is all, this
New
is
business
public
is what
comment.
I was trying to get.
Yeah.
I put a complaint in, but I also wanted you to know, on ordinance 26-109, creation of the water and sewer districts. This is the one that was made for, the districts, like it said, water and sewer. You see both of these, A and B. It's designating everything, these districts, or it's Strasburg Road North. And there's two different districts, both of them say Strasburg Road North, okay? And, by the, school putting in the water line past Strasburg Road, I wanted to bring that up and, say that's against the ordinance. There's a lot of different reasons for that. Leaves you open legally for more, arguments toward putting development on that side. That's what I've seen for, keeping to that. The other ordinance is also is 18B-102. This is the one everybody was hunting for, where you have to connect to the public sewer if you're 150 feet from a sewer system or line. That's going to affect a lot of people, but they've already brought across that line. And I think that's where they're also going to put in sewer. I don't know if they're doing that right at the moment or not, but I figured you'd want to know that. And I just wanted some answers on that. I didn't see anything in the township minutes. I checked many different times to see if I missed something. You know, if I'm right or wrong, helps us residents to be able to know what's going on up here, without coming in here and, making a fool of ourselves by not knowing what has been done in, latter meetings. So.
What I have follows right up with it.
Well, that is perfect time.
Alright, I'm gonna do this. Due to the technical and property right implications of this issue, I respectfully request additional time if necessary beyond the allotted 3 minutes. Okay, I would like to think that the number one top priority of this board is to make decisions that result in the greatest benefit of the taxpayers for the township. Unfortunately, on numerous occasions, this board has proven that it has other interests in mind over those of us that are making sure the bills get paid. What I'm about to present, while not infallible, is designed solely to benefit the people of our township. We are the ones that make sure the lights in this very building stay on, and then the salaries of the township employees get paid on time, and the township itself continues to function. That said, members of the board, under this proposal, property owners with properly functioning septic systems and safe private water supplies would not be required to connect to public utilities simply because service lines are nearby. Instead, they would need to maintain their system through periodic septic inspections, pumping records, and ensure their water supply remains safe when tested at time of public water becomes available. The ordinance keeps strong safeguards in place. A system can only be considered failed after 2 independent inspections or determination by the township sewage enforcement officer under Act 537 standards. If the system is found to be failing or unsafe, the property owner would have 180 days to repair it or connect to public utilities where available. The intent is to maintain full compliance with Pennsylvania Act 537 while focusing enforcement on the actual system failure and public health risk rather than proximity alone. Now, I know that you guys aren't fans of reading ordinances or lowering taxes or any of those things. These are for you to review and you to review. These should hold up to relatively strong legal scrutiny. They've been put up against Act 537 and its requirements, but obviously it needs to be fine-tooth combed just to make sure. I was also advised that the DEP would probably want to review it as well. Since you guys aren't fans of reading ordinances or really doing anything, I've decided to give you guys a summary, so you don't have to read the whole thing. So it's only a few words. I think you guys can do it. This is an amendment to the current ordinance that requires our township to connect within 150 feet, switching it completely to voluntary connection while still maintaining all of the appropriate things that you have all discussed and has been discussed in regards to the Act 537 rules. Act 537 is not.
I'm gonna ask you to wrap up, as soon as you can.
Yeah, I know. I would figure you would.
You do that.
The Act 537 does not explicitly enforce a mandatory connection to public sewer. That is a township decision and does not have to be enforced. We currently have that in place. And I would behoove you to look at this, read it, scrutinize it, Mr. Crotty, read it, Mr. Switcher, and put it into place. Our township should not be required to do something they don't need to do. I have perfectly good fresh water and I have a perfectly good septic system in my backyard. I have a beautiful lawn because of it, you know? To come in and tell me, hey, you don't have any right to that anymore is beyond me. And it's well beyond your genuine need for authority over top of me. My property. Let me do what I'm doing with it. Working fine. I'd be more than happy to present you with a 3-year certificate. Hey, it works. That's fine, but do not require me or anybody else in this township to hook up to something that out of pocket is going to cost anywhere between $12,000 and $25,000 in 90 days. How are you going to ask a retiree to go, hey, by the way, now you have to sell your house because you can't connect,
I'm gonna ask you to
because
wrap
you
up.
cannot
You're
afford to
taking
connect
more
to
than
the
the
public
appropriate
sewer
amount.
that we're forcing down your throat. Oh, and here, drink this terrible tasting water because we'd rather you not use your well.
Thank you, Phil. Phil, all right, so
You know, big-
at the board's.
Again, you guys aren't gonna write an
I'm
ordinance, so I did it
I'm
for you.
speaking now, so you can sit down, Phil. So what?
You have 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, we only have as much time as we have. So the board will talk to staff and legal and see if there's any there based on your layman's interpretation of our ordinance.
Oh, that's.
And we will, I didn't interrupt you.
Lame.
We will determine if
You
you have
interrupted me
anything,
twice.
if you have anything there that's worth evaluating or changing. And we will report back. Gentlemen, is that appropriate? You do?
Or hold your hand over me.
I just had a couple quick things, my name is Bruce Lane from Goose Town Road. I just had actually a couple questions. About the grass cuttings and that type of stuff, people put the green road. What are the actions that should be taken if someone does that and you see that they're doing it intentionally or they're not really looking to clean it up.
And you're speaking of public roads, obviously, I
I'm
know
talking about around
I
here.
mean, for motorcycles especially, this is a hazard
Yeah,
for riding.
and
right?
just today I came down, Houston Road and guy was cutting his grass and there was actually a glove laying out there, and he was right there. Until we picked it up, but he just left it there, and I mean, it might be a little thing, even for a car, but something happens and, it's serious, especially if you come around a corner, you got gravel, you got stuff like that. Guys are working on the roads and they're leaving stuff. That just affects motorcycle more so. I was just curious as to what action we could take as people, because you go up and you want to say something, but you
Yeah.
don't want to be like,
Sometimes people don't wanna hear it. I
oh,
get it.
yeah, they think that you're just giving them a hard time or whatever, and it's not that way. It's just you're trying to protect everybody, not just yourself, but everybody behind.
I want to ask staff, whoever's appropriate, Scott, whether it's, the police can chime in. We'll try to get some answers on this, is what we can do now, or what
Yeah, I mean, it
we
was-
can't do.
It
I
was
mean,
just
we
like,
as a local government.
because we ride with people and, if we see somebody like a farmer or somebody, we've done it to a couple of Amish people because they really don't know. And when you pull up and say something to
But
them,
usually they'll listen.
they genuinely do, but if you see somebody like, they see it every day and they put it out there and it's like, okay, they kind of just, they don't care. But if somebody gets hurt, then what do? You go after the homeowner, I mean, that's something that I'm trying to figure out because, insurance wise and whatever, just general safety for people, because I ride in groups and we try to keep an eye on everybody, and sometimes with traffic and things, somebody gets lost behind, so we got to figure out what's going on. It's just a safety thing. And then the second thing, with all this weather we've had, the rain and the wind and all this stuff, a lot of trees are coming down, a lot of things are dying. And I see Asplund is out and the tree companies are out. And I had a question for them the other day because they were out in front of my house for a while, just sitting there with all the trucks lined up, blocking traffic. And they were talking on the radios and I'm like, well, there's some dead trees around here, but my property is up high and the road is down here, so there's a hill. So some of the trees are on that hill. And I called the township a while ago to ask who was responsible for those trees. Me, or is that like just a nature thing? You just let it fall because people send me things in the mail, tree people, hey, we'll come out and do your trees. I got so many trees. I go brook planted. So that was another question, was what to do about the dead trees and that kind of stuff, because if they fall on somebody, hey, guess what? They're coming after me for lawsuit.
But in each case, Bruce, it's appropriate to call the township to see who would take responsibility. I mean, Asplund is there, they have their own set of rules. They're not worried about how pretty the tree is. They're just
Right.
trying to make the line
But
safe.
they wouldn't even answer my question, did they?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
no, they're
answer
just,
that.
yeah, they're not very user friendly.
But I mean, it's just like, I just want to leave with this. Communication is a big thing. And these people here, we live here, we deal with things every day, and we try to come to you and bring these problems to you. And if you turn your deaf ear on us and you tell us that's not important, that doesn't jive too well with us. And if you want to attract people to come here, you got to give something to bring them here, not drive them away. The high taxes would just drive people away. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Can it be ladies first, Jane?
Yeah.
Oh, now for something completely different.
Oh, administrative walks? No walk fun?
Yeah, I could. Give me 3 minutes, I don't care, I won't take that long. Because Mr. Wright, you did not ask me about the America 250 event during the Parks and Rec. I have to comment here on the public, portion. I would like this to be brought up at each of the supervisors meetings because you don't understand, nobody here understands the amount of work that goes on beyond the scene. I know Mr. Scott does. I know that Ms. Dorado does. I mean, this is a ongoing checklist, 5 pages of everything I'm spending a full-time job doing. So I would appreciate having, the opportunity at, meetings to address the community. There are, forms up here about our America 250 event. We also have a, time capsule, which I think is vitally important for everybody to contribute something. For example, I went to Triple Fresh. I asked for a menu and I am writing an article on what Triple Fresh meant to my family. I've been here 45 years. Triple Fresh hired all my children, so that's something I want put in a time capsule. And maybe they will be here in 50 years when the time capsule's open. And I need entries from all the community. I'm hoping that you all take this information, spread it to your friends or neighbors. We also have a really fun day planned. We have apple pie contest, so if you're a baker, and again, I think, my husband and Chief Osborne and Kat have agreed to be judges. I'd like to get somebody else. Thank you, Deb, for that idea. I think it's a wonderful idea for the event.
Yeah.
We have, we have birdhouse contest, and Mr. Scott Nunn has agreed to be a judge for that. At least if Stephanie told you. Okay. We have a patriotic birdhouse competition fun as part of the day. We also have, what am I missing, Barry?
Sorry, can we just say the date? I know it's on June 27th, Saturday.
Until 3 p.m. I have been nonstop, and my husband will verify, I am on my computer 8 to 9 hours a day. And I had to take a mental health day one day last week, just so I didn't have to, like, all these things go through your head. I've contacted the county commissioners, Ms. Moskowitz, has expressed interest on coming, and I'm very thankful to that. I'm hoping the other two, Josh Maxwell and Eric Rowe also come. Christine Sappy can attend because of the budget meetings in Pennsylvania. But I'm contacting the Chester County History Association, just contacted me today. Whoops, do I have to sit down there? Chester County History, wants us to do a wish wall, which is America, the residents that come to this event can write down on a form that they're gonna provide for me, like a sticky note type thing, and you can put your wishes for the country, for America 250. So there's a lot of fun things going on between bounce houses. We have a concert from 12 to 2, with the 70s tribute band. It's just an awful lot of work by all my team, and I'm inviting everybody to come. Everyone, June 2nd. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I did forget. My husband's reminding me, we have a Revolutionary War encampment, with Revolutionary War reenactors, who are also going to do, musket demonstrations and marches and drills with kids that go there. So there's a lot of activity that's gonna happen throughout the day. We actually probably have more events than we need, but it's gonna be action packed. So I'm hoping to see everybody there. June 2nd, next week, is another America 250 meeting. And we will have one again June 16th, and that will be the last before. But just because we don't have formal meetings does not mean I don't need volunteers, and I need people to sign up to do some of this list that I have here. The township has worked, Scott has been great. I mean, he really has, and all of you that, you know, make comments about the board up here, pretty much everybody has been very receptive to this event, and I thank you all for being receptive to what we're doing here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
That's a good idea.
Don, I see your hand.
Good job.
Unless you're just stretching.
No. One, somebody who's important, write this down. Excellent newsletter articles. Tell people about how they shouldn't put their grass clippings out into the road. And who is generally responsible for bringing trees down, even things like someone cutting down their own tree, and if it falls on their neighbor's house, that kind of thing. Insurance stuff, it matters, and it may affect whether or not somebody cuts down a tree. And even if you don't care about motorcyclists, I'm a motorcyclist, aim it at children. Say a child riding a bike down the street, when they hit those grass clippings, it's like being on ice. It's not safe. So those are excellent things for articles if you're ever looking for things to write about in the newsletter. One thing I did want to say is thank you, Scott. I don't know if you talked to Pico or our road crew, but somebody filled in that rim bender pothole on the road. Yay!
Nice. Good.
I don't know who did it, but
I didn't fill the pothole in.
I didn't do it, but you said you were gonna talk to somebody
I went on the website and put in a claim.
at Pico.
No, and
Appenda, I'm sorry.
And that road.
I'm getting my utilities mixed up.
Yeah.
God, I'm forgetting my other stuff. The biggest thing was that pothole. I kept forgetting. I go to my dad's.
publicly accessible website as well.
Yeah, well, I went out there about the bridge on Park Avenue, but the bridge on Park Avenue is in Valley Township. And they closed it December, but have not touched it yet. So I think I have to go to Valley Township to ask. I couldn't find it on PennDOT's site. I need to go to Valley Township and ask them, when are you gonna start the bridge on Park Avenue? They closed the road and you're not doing
You can
anything.
ask questions during their meeting online, so you don't have to do it. They let you ask questions during
At
their
Valley,
online.
you can interact.
You can
What
interact.
a novel idea. Okay. For now, I think that was my most important stuff.
All right, any other comments?
They finally opened it.
I know.
They put the stupid stop sign there, but.
Again, you guys are taking off every Friday in the office, but it seems like you're not able to get your, sorry,
We're not taking off every day in the office. Every
in
Friday.
this summer?
Our office is closed to the public, but we are here Monday to Friday, just to clarify.
Why would you be closed to the public?
For trainings and staff meetings, that's what we do in the summer.
So you
We are here.
can't, within 5 days, you don't have enough time to take documents and move them into an email and send them? You're that limited on staff? Are you that busy, or you just delegate everything?
Let's just have the conversation.
Because these are right to know requests that it shouldn't take that long, right? Because it's like, hey, can you take these documents and put them in an email, right? So I don't know why that takes 35 days. It's preposterous. You don't know either, because you don't know what's going on. So I know you don't know why it takes 35 days. Absolutely. Let's see, again, there are a number of outstanding, I would love for any of you, right? And Deb, I kind of hold you to a higher standard, right? Because I think you're at least a good person. But there are outstanding complaints I know I have, and it sounds like there are other people who have complaints that they have filed. Where do they go and who is responsible? You don't have to look at the fucking clock, okay? It'll be when it's done.
You do
It'll
not
be
have
when
to
it's
stop
done.
the
I can say whatever I want.
Do
You're
not-
taking my time. Please
do me a
stop. I'm not
favor.
talking to you.
Do me a favor.
So, someone
and not
please
curse
look into
in our
how the
public meeting.
complaints work, right? Is there a process? The fact that complaints are exempt from right to know request is absurd to begin with. But you guys should have a process. You should understand what the complaints from your residents are, not just leave it to the office, and then have some way to follow up and close out those items, right? You should do that. That's what you should do for your residents who are making complaints. But nothing has happened to multiple people. But we can't figure out how many complaints have even been filed because they're exempt from right to know request. Okay. Is there an update for the permit software? You can look at the clock all you want.
I can.
Do you have an update for the permit software? No, because you don't know what's going on. Okay, I'll move on to the next. That was a rhetorical question. Can we actually do an in-house trash cost benefit or business case to see if we could save taxpayers $250,000 a year? Could we do that? I'll move rhetorical.
That, right?
Could we do that?
We could do that.
Do a study?
Yeah.
We could do a study on anything.
So why didn't we do a study 8 months ago when I said we should do a study? Because it is a contract year and there's a long lead time for these trash trucks. Why didn't we do it then? Why did we have a guy from Blazinski come in and, what's that?
Who wants to buy a trash truck? I don't know
Who
about
wants to
anybody
save
else
$250,000?
here.
Do you want to pay more tax? You can pay my $450 a year. You can pay my $450 a year. It's my time, shut up, it's my
I have
time.
no
You
problem.
can come up here after me. You can come up here after me
Okay, well-
and tell how much you
And
love paying more
your
taxes.
time is up. Thank you. Have a seat.
You're welcome.
Now,
And
have a seat
how
now.
many homes are gonna
Have
be
a
subject?
seat
How many homes
now.
are gonna be
Have
subject?
a
You better
seat
shut- How many
now.
homes are gonna
Have
be
a
subject to
seat
connect to
now.
the public?
And let the
How
next
many?
residents. Gary,
Oh, he's coming up. How many homes are gonna be subject to connecting? Have you notified those?
do you
homes?
understand that you just told people to shut up, but you won't shut up?
He's right, when he's right.
Shut up. Sit down.
Dude,
Now,
seriously, you have such a Napoleon
Shut up
complex. It
and
is
sit down.
astounding.
if you're not gonna show people respect,
It
you
is
will not get
astounding.
respect.
Yeah, listen to your lawyer. Listen to your lawyer.
Gary, you have the floor.
I just wanna say, cause I've heard a couple times now tonight about doing our own in-house trash. My opinion is, I mean, you can research it all you want, but who's gonna spend millions of dollars on trash trucks and doing all that when what we're paying now, I mean, what we're paying now is not that much. I know area communities that pay triple what we're paying a year for trash. I don't think it's that much what we pay. We get great trash service. I know it's not always the best, but it works fine. We get our trash, we get our recycling taken care of every week.
No, we don't.
I don't think.
It's $3.50 in
There's some
electric
people-
service.
Oh,
Dude,
okay,
however you need your own freaking paper, boss.
Yeah, you're
It's
not supposed to
$3.50
interrupt the
West
person
I
speaking.
think it's
both sides.
Read your own paper.
Yeah. and
Read it. I know you don't know how, but read.
This is the second month you've done. You want decorum? You have to do it first. So shut up yourself.
Hey, guys.
You want decorum? You have to do it first. You're supposed to be the example and you refuse to do it. You sit there on your chair like you're 13 inches higher and you are nothing more than we are. We are your boss.
This meeting
So
is over.
you shut up.
8:35 PM.
Meeting is over.